Salut and welcome back, language teachers, to Adventures in Language. I'm your guide, Emily. And in this video, we're talking about how to create a student-driven classroom. And if you don't know me yet, I'm Emily. I'm a linguist here at Mango Languages, and I have my PhD in bilingual language processing. Now, as a student and a teacher of many languages myself, I'm really stoked to talk about what student-driven learning is, and 2 simple solutions that you can use to make your classroom a more student-driven learning experience. Bando alle ciance? Let's get to it. So what is a student-driven classroom? Well, it's a classroom that it focuses on the learner and it's driven by guided self-discovery. So you might have heard terms like flipped classroom or active learning strategies. Both of these are good examples. It stands in contrast to teacher-driven classrooms, which you'd recognize by the more traditional approaches such as lecturing, which do tend to place students in a more passive learning role. In recent years, there's been a general shift in the pedagogical paradigm from teachers being the sage on the stage to the guide on the side. And that shift, my friends, has everything to do with student-driven learning. Now, there's no question that student-driven learning is a trendy topic in educational circles these days. And you may be asking, is that popularity warranted? In other words, is there evidence to support this shift in pedagogical approach? The answer is yes. When compared with teacher-driven approaches, learners in student-driven classrooms have more positive learning outcomes and higher student satisfaction. Now, if you'd like to explore a bit more about the research behind these findings, check out the articles that we've linked for you in the description. So we know that student-driven learning is a good goal, but making the switch can be a bit tough for teachers for a variety of reasons. But I promise that no matter what your teaching style is, every teacher is capable of achieving a student-driven classroom. Of course, it does take practice, and luckily there are 2 easy principles that will help you get there, which I'm going to share with you in this very video. They are to make time for metacognitive activities, and 2, to use facilitating questions. Now, let's break those down in order. All right, that first one, make time for metacognitive activities. First, what the heck is metacognition? Metacognition means thinking about thinking. Put another way, it refers to our ability to identify what it is we do and don't know about the learning material, and it's our capacity to regulate our own learning processes. So the goal here is for students to become self-regulated learners. Now, why does this matter? Well, it matters because, of course, you won't always be their teacher. And if they use you as a crutch too much in their learning process, it's much less likely that they're going to become self-sufficient lifetime learners. Now, metacognition isn't necessarily a skill that will just kick in at a certain age. It is a skill that needs to be nurtured. So your support as a teacher in building your students' metacognitive skills will go a long way. But how can you actually implement this? How can you give your students opportunities to build their metacognitive skills? Well, here are several of my favorite ways to do this. Number 1, make it a course goal. Put it on your syllabus. This is very easy to implement, and it signals to your students how important you consider this skill. So write along your content-based goals for the class. Maybe it's gain intermediate communicative competence in the language. Put a skill-based goal that says something like develop habits of metacognitive reflection. Use your own wording, trust your intuition. Number 2, set up class discussions about metacognition. So this could mean organizing a think, pair, share activity where students are asked to reflect openly about questions like, how would you describe your current proficiency level? What are your biggest strengths right now in the target language? What's one grammatical concept that you're struggling with? Or, I like this one a lot, how do you study outside of class? Now, pro tip, you can have them do this individually by assigning them the awesome goal-setting worksheet linked in the description, which is free. And speaking of self-reflection, number 3, use exam wrappers. Have you heard of exam wrappers? So upon returning exams, ask students to spend 5 minutes writing about what they did well, where their learning gaps still remain, and how their strategies for studying did or did not serve them. Lastly, number 4, encourage them to use the Mango Languages app. So if you're already a Mango user, you probably have noticed this, but the app is actually built to engage your metacognitive skills. Take, for example, the voice comparison feature. You record yourself speaking in the target language, and we show you your audio waveforms right alongside a native speaker's, which allows you to explicitly address the gaps between your pronunciation and theirs. Features like this encourage you to think critically about how and why your pronunciation might not yet be quite right, and what specific sounds you're struggling with. So, in other words, while the app does take you on a curated learning experience, you're ultimately the one driving the whole process. Okay, before we get to our second and last principle in the video, if you're new here and you'd like to make sure that you are up to date on all of the awesome language-related content that we have for you, come join the Mango fam by subscribing to the channel. We appreciate you. Okay, principle number 2, use facilitating questions. This tip is all about asking questions before providing answers. So imagine your student asks you, "Hey teacher, how would I say the sentence, 'This past weekend I hung out with my friends'?" How would you respond as a teacher? Well, if you were in a teacher-driven classroom, you would provide them with the answer to their question. So if you're a Spanish teacher, you'd say, "El fin de semana pasado pasé tiempo con mis amigos." In other words, you would do the thinking for them. But in a student-driven classroom, you make them do the thinking. Of course, with some strategic guidance. So rather than telling them the right answer, you ask them the right questions. You get them to engage their prior knowledge by helping them discover the answer on their own. So to do this, you might consider using scaffolding techniques that help them break down the sentence into easily digestible parts. You might say, "What parts of this sentence do you already know? Don't worry about whether you're 100% correct." And you can even guess. And then if they still need a little more guidance, perhaps you say, "Okay, well, how would you say last weekend?" Or how would you say to hang out or pass time? Or what verb tense do you need there? Now, I really love this tip of using facilitating questions because it's so easy and it's so actionable. And it really does help students take the driver's seat in their language learning journey. And in a lot of ways, it is the best embodiment of a teaching philosophy that I personally really like, which is that a teacher's role is not to teach per se, but to facilitate learning. Hence the use of facilitating questions. Well, there you have it. The 2 principles that we covered for creating your student-driven classroom were 1, to make time for metacognitive activities, and 2, to use facilitating questions with your students. And guess what? Using the Mango app can help you implement both of these solutions. Our lesson sequences follow a scaffolding pattern of asking you carefully designed facilitating questions to guide your self-driven learning experience and to engage your metacognition. Now that you've finished the video, I hope you feel inspired to take these tips with you into your own classrooms. If you liked this video, please let us know by hitting that like button and subscribing to the channel. As always, if you have a question or an idea for a video that you'd like to see from us, let us know because we are always listening. That's it for this time on Adventures in Language. La revedere, and I look forward to seeing you back here next time. Bye. Don't forget to get your free Setting a Goals worksheet, which you can access through the link in the description. In next week's video, we're talking about something called desirable difficulties, what they are, why they matter, and 4 fun ways that you can incorporate them into your classroom. If you want to be one of the first to know when that video goes live, then subscribe to the channel. I will see you in the next video. Bye.